I'm Melanie Syra, and this is Diana, and we're going to talk to you about something that we did recently. So many of you know that or some of you might know that I do Menarche ceremonies. These are for women and for girls, and I do them for adult women who may have had a disappointing or not very nice period story. So many of us have shameful and embarrassing kind of first periods, and we hold that in our hearts as we grow into adult. So Deanna contacted me and she asked if she could have a Menarche ceremony. So why did you decide to have your Menarche ceremony?
I just wanted to rewrite my menstrual cycle story. I work with my menstrual cycle and with menstrual cycle awareness, and I was aware that if your first period is not celebrated and not acknowledged in the way it could be, that this is something I might be carrying forward and forward each and every cycle. So I wanted to rewrite that story.
Which is something also that I chose to do. I held a lot of, I felt quite an inconvenience, like I was an inconvenience, and I was never welcomed into this space of having my first period, and nobody really explained what it was or helped me with the emotions that came with it. And so having a ceremony as an adult enabled me to step back into that and and rewrite that story. So shall we say a little bit about what we did?
Yeah.
So Deanna gave me a call and I came round, and I have some ideas but wanted to really lead it with what you wanted, because it's not my ceremony, it's all about you. And some of the things you decided was to have a group of really close friends there to witness it.
And I remember there were a few things you suggested we could be doing, and I said, no, I don't like that. But I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was really nice that you had kind of a toolbox you brought, and you said we could do this. You gave me lots of suggestions, and then we went for a few. And it was a really nice planning time. We spent quite some time, an afternoon, to plan the whole ceremony.
Yeah. And some of the things that you chose were to be pampered, to have other people do things for you, which we as women often don't do.
And a few years ago I would have not gone for that, because I would have felt like, oh no, I don't want to be the center of attention, everybody pampering me. But I felt like, yes, it feels right. And if I imagine to be that young girl, and my aunties, sisters, mother, family, friends are around and do that's just the thing to do. So it felt right.
A different way, not necessarily being in the spotlight, but more being love bombed by everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
And cared for.
Yeah.
And what else did we do? We decided to have a bit of a ceremony where we'd open this space and enable each person to kind of share, if they wanted to, something about their first periods, which brought a lot of tears when it actually happened.
But it was really beautiful the way you held that space. It felt safe for these tears to flow. And that was a beautiful moment as well, for everybody to be involved and to share.
Thank you. But we are often thrown in spotlight, like you were saying about being pampered, often people go, so what's happened to you? What's happened to you? If you remember being at school, people will point out questions to you or ask you what's happened to you, how you're feeling about this. And that's kind of goes against the whole feeling of being safe to actually explore what really is going on for you and offering it by choice. And if you can do that, it makes a big difference. But yeah, so we've started to talk about what's going on. So what else did we plan? They made you an anklet.
Yeah, which I can wear when I'm on my period now. So it's a little celebration thing every month to look forward to that time, to have something to mark my period.
Made you a crown.
Yeah.
And then we had a ceremony. So there were quite a lot of little bits that led up to it, weren't there? It was about gathering people, setting the scene of what this was for you, and then being able to be pampered by others and be looked after by others and be welcomed into this Menarche space by others, and then having a ceremony where it was almost like where it was a stepping down towards that threshold of being a child ready to have their first bleed, and stepping over it full of blessings and love and being held, to step into it as somebody who's been witnessed and not shamed and not treated in a way that made them have awful memories and reject their womanhood or reject or feel like they had to let go of their childhood. Which leads us nicely into what happened actually on the day. So in this planning session, I asked Diana to think of something or collect something that she would let go of as child stepping into her little womanhood. So something from her childhood that she wanted to let go of, and she was like, oh, I don't know what it is, I don't know if I've got anything. And then I asked her quite close to it, oh no, I haven't done that yet. And then on the day, as we got ready for the ceremony, I was like, give me your thing that you've got, what have you got? And she said, oh, I haven't got anything ready. So we had a quick discussion, and you decided that you had as a child, you didn't want to let go of anything. You're a bit of a hoarder.
Well, I had a couple of things in mind. I thought, yeah, I could. I used to be a swimmer, so I thought, oh, maybe I should give her something which symbolizes my love for the water, my love for swimming. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna give her that. And then, yeah, I was the hoarder, and I thought, oh, perfect. I just got a little bit of rubbish. And I'm sure I can let go of that trade of mine to collect things. Perfect, that's it, sorted. So I handed you at that time this bundle of rubbish I could grab. And I thought, oh, I felt so relieved. But you had your little...
I did.
You had your little twinkle in your eye, and I was like,
So at that point we were having a kind of a ceremony. So everybody was sat around in a circle and just watching as Diana took these steps down the threshold. And I gave her a blessing with each of the elements. I wafted a feather around her as air, and a candle for fire, and flicked some water over her for water, and made her put her fingers in some earth, and just said some things that felt right at the time as blessings on this journey. And then I invited her to stand on the threshold and give me the rubbish to drop her stuff from childhood, which it took you a bit to give it to me. It brought up a lot of stuff, didn't it? And
yes, it in the back of my mind, I had probably the ideas of the real things. Oh, I don't want to let go of anything, really. Why are you asking me that? So it was, that moment was probably for me of the whole ceremony, the whole evening, the most emotional one at that time.
Well, I remember that I asked you questions about you, and then you answered it about women in general.
Yes.
And then I asked you again about you, and then you answered it again. And I think I remember saying something like, I'm going to be...
Yes, exactly.
Not
like
mean,
this.
but whatever the word is, I'm going to be...
Yes.
I'm going to pressure you with this. Answer it as you. And then I think you took a big deep breath and kind of was like... And then your stuff came out, which... It's really difficult for us when we've got things that are really held. And then you stepped over your threshold, feeling that you'd let go of all your stuff.
At that point I felt relieved.
And then I gave you your rubbish back.
And then I felt shocked. I thought, oh, but what I find in hindsight, if I had heavily hearted given you this piece I really didn't want to let go of, now would have been the time like, oh, I got it back. But at this time I thought, oh God, no. And then you said, we don't have to let go of anything.
No.
So
just because you stepped from one phase of being into another does not mean that that little child has gone or has to be pushed away. You're not an adult the first time you start to bleed. You are still a child for most people, most girls anyway. And to be expected to step into being a woman is going against everything that's actually going on around you as a child. And even when you're older, to be expected to let go of all of that is you is denying a huge part of you that much of your foundations are built on. So I gave you a rubbish back and said that you didn't have to let go of everything.
Yeah. And I didn't, because it took me many years to let go of this hoarding.
But I think it's your choice now, isn't it? You don't have that sense of, as a child, I have to hold this. This is my stuff. It's I've let go of it, but I've been given it back, and I can do what I like with it, rather than it being a huge part of perhaps that part of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we ate, and we had some red salad, and there was red strawberries and cake, and there was rosé wine, I think.
Yes.
And then vagina cupcakes.
Yeah.
Or vulva cupcakes that were amazing, and everybody loved them. And then we did some singing. We had a whole bit of a party afterwards.
And then there was some singing, some dancing. A couple of women brought their musical instruments. Yeah.
A proper celebration.
Beautiful. Maybe my best birthday celebration. It happened that I did it on my actual birthday, or around that time. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't think you can underestimate the power of being able to go back from something that you've held like that and revisit it and be welcomed in a very different way. Because after that there was some stuff that came up for you, isn't there?
Not immediately after. We celebrated. That was obviously really nice, and the place I felt was nicely closed. The ceremony was ended, but the week after I spoke to a couple of my friends, and they all kind of said, funny week, feel a bit not quite right, but we didn't put it down to the ceremony. A few days more passed, and I thought, I have to do some work on that. And that's when I saw my therapist, my womb therapist, and there were some more tears coming, but good tears. There was some closure. I needed this one-to-one work to journey a little bit deeper and to see what was going on here and to find the conclusion for that. And we found it.
Good.
At that session.
That's really good. Yeah, it was, I mean, I love doing them because I like being able to craft things for people's needs. I think being a teacher, watching people do things from a textbook or all for the same people, for everybody, just didn't sit with me. And we're all different. We all need our own way of moving through life, don't we? And things tailored for us. But yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to say about it?
The biggest shift and the biggest realization came a few months after for me, and that was really huge. It had something to do with my mom and how I really felt that ceremony has in a nice way separated me from her. I am my own woman and I am here to live my life regardless of my story or her story or any maternal ancestors. So this ceremony was kind of like cutting off the cord. Yeah. And I realized that I felt a lot more free in my life. So I knew I had to do this ceremony. And it was very, very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, shall we finish? Yeah. Just going to say that this is Deanna's first video ever, and she was petrified. And wasn't she absolutely brilliant? Give her a clap. See, you're going to be brilliant at videos now. Bye.